Welcome to Viet US1040 channel, the world's hot news. Today we would like to share 5 world hot news that you should know from May 1 to 3 of 2021 as follows. Newsletter 1. New Delhi extended the blockade. Dr. Anthony Fauci said that India should block the country. Newsletter 2. The magnitude 6.6 earthquake rocked in northern Japan, but there has been no tsunami warning yet. Newsletter 3. Hot news: the Myanmar army and its armed groups fought fiercely near the border. Newsletter 4. The United States is ready to support the Afghanistan military when it withdraws from Afghanistan if they are attacked by militants. Newsletter 5. The U.S. economy grew by 6.4% in the first quarter of 2021. The following are details of the newsletter. Newsletter 1. New Delhi extended the blockade. Dr. Anthony Fauci said that India should block the country. In a May 1 announcement on Twitter, New Delhi Premier Arvind Kejriwal said that the blockade measures in the city would be extended for another week due to the number of new COVID-19 infections in the city. This is still going strong. Be aware that the current blockade in New Delhi is slated to end on May 3. However, the number of new COVID-19 infections continues to rise rapidly in this 20 million population city, forcing the authorities must prolong the blockade. According to data from the Indian Ministry of Health, on May 1, New Delhi alone recorded an additional 27,000 COVID-19 infections and 375 deaths. However, many experts believe that the actual number of infections in the city may be higher. Across India, more than 400,000 new COVID-19 infections have been recorded in the past 24 hours, the highest ever in the country as well as in the world. To date, India has a total of more than 19.5 million COVID-19 infections, of which more than 215,000 deaths. It was recently reported that Dr. Anthony Fauci, COVID-19's leading researcher and currently the White House medical advisor, said that India should blockade across the country for a few weeks to prevent the rapid spread of the coronavirus. When asked by a reporter about the current plague in India, the White House medical advisor said he felt India was in a very difficult and desperate situation. According to him, another thing that needs to be done right away is to vaccinate people, at the same time take advantage of accumulating medical supplies to care for patients. Newsletter 2. The magnitude 6.6 earthquake rocked in northern Japan, but there has been no tsunami warning yet. The hottest news reported that on May 1, local time, a magnitude 6.8 earthquake struck off the northeastern coast of Japan, but no tsunami warnings have been issued. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, USGS said the mid-morning earthquake hit at a depth of 47 kilometers, 29 miles, in the Pacific, off Ishinomaki, Miyagi Prefecture, near the epicenter of the earthquake's giant, in March 2011. There was no immediate report on the damage, according to the Japan Times. On the other hand, there were reports according to the USGS and the meteorological agency that said there was no danger of a tsunami following the tremor. The earthquake caused strong tremors along areas of the east coast and was also felt in Tokyo. It should be known that Japan lies on the Pacific Ring of Fire, an arc of intense seismic activity stretching across Southeast Asia and across the Pacific Basin. The country experiences frequent earthquakes and has strict construction regulations to ensure buildings can withstand strong shocks. Japanese media reported that Tokyo Electric Power Company is nowadays Holdings is checking to see if any anomalies have occurred at their nuclear power plant in Fukushima. At the same time, the Tohoku Electric Power Company spokesperson said no damage was found at the nuclear plants in Onagawa, Higashidori. Tohoku bullet train services have been suspended due to this quake. Newsletter 3. Hot news: the Myanmar army and its armed groups fought fiercely near the border. It was reported that several explosions occurred across Yangon, Myanmar's largest city, on May 1 while protesters continued to take to the streets to protest against the country's military government. Details said in the town of Insign, Yangon City, a bomb exploded at around 10 o'clock local time on May 1 near a school. In the afternoon of the same day, 2 other explosions occurred in Yangon town, Yangon City. It is still unclear whether anyone was injured in the explosions. No one has claimed responsibility for such explosions, which are occurring with increased frequency in Yangon City. According to the Association for Supporting Political Prisoners, AAPP, since the Myanmar Army's coup on February 1, nearly 760 civilians have been killed in protests against the coup, demanding to be released. Civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi. Besides that, Myanmar Army and Karen gunmen have been fighting near the Thai border for many weeks. Recently, Karen Peace Support Network via Facebook announced that more than 8,000 Karen people are hiding in the border area and they will run to Thailand if the conflict escalates. Meanwhile, Thailand's foreign ministry recently said that as of April 30, there have been 2,267 Burmese citizens crossing the Thai border since the most recent conflict between the Myanmar Army and the armed minority group Karen protests the coup. Newsletter 4. The United States is ready to support the Afghanistan military when it withdraws from Afghanistan if they are attacked by militants. Recently there was news that the United States declared its readiness to support the Afghan security forces. First Deputy Secretary of the Department of Defense, Kathleen Hicks, said Friday. Yes, our plan includes working together with our coalition partners, the NATO ally and the Afghan army. We can support them, Hicks said in the webinar. When we withdraw our forces, which, as you mentioned, if they are attacked in this withdrawal. It should be noted that before that, the U.S. administration announced that by May 1 it would begin and by September 11 it would complete the withdrawal of its troops from Afghanistan with full coordination of allied forces. On the other hand, it should be recognized that in Afghanistan there is a confrontation between government forces and the Taliban, who have occupied important territories in the countryside and launched attacks on major cities. Newsletter 5. The U.S. economy grew by 6.4% in the first quarter of 2021. The latest statistics show that the U.S. economy grew 6.4% in the first quarter of 2021 thanks to the stimulus package and the COVID-19 vaccination campaign. Detailed information, that data released by the U.S. Department of Commerce on April 29 shows that the growth rate of the U.S. economy in the first quarter of 2021 was only 0.9% lower than in the fourth quarter of 2019, when COVID-19 translation point has not yet occurred. In terms of USD, GDP of the U.S. in the first quarter of 2021 reached $19.1 trillion USD, lower than the $19.3 trillion of the fourth quarter of 2020. CNN claimed 6.4% was the best growth recorded in the first quarter of any year since 1984. According to a report by the U.S. Department of Commerce, the country's rapid economic growth is thanks to the vaccination campaign to reduce the number of COVID-19 cases and support policies from the government. Within 3 months, 2 bailout packages with a total value of nearly $3,000 billion USD have been approved to help boost people's income and expenditure. This is a very important support to the economy because the people's spending accounts for 2/3 of economic activities, according to Reuters news agency. The first bailout package worth $900 billion was approved at the end of December 2020 to give each American $600. In March 2021, a new bailout package worth $1,900 billion USD was also approved and an additional $1,400 USD per person was granted. As a result, consumer spending has increased by 10.7% in the past 3 months, according to the U.S. Department of Commerce. Total American savings soared to $4.12 trillion, compared to $2.25 trillion in the fourth quarter of 2020. The total personal income increased to a whopping $2.36 trillion USD in the past 3 months, also contributed to increasing savings.
Thank you for your follow-up attention. If you find that the channel's video is useful, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and support the channel. Thank you very much and see you again in the next channel video.